welcome at that time once again, maybe a minute or two later than that time. I'm Joe Jaquin, CEO of the Patriot Trading Group, and happy Tuesday. As once again, I was so busy, I lost track of time. I don't know what's going on. We just got a lot of stuff going on. We were working on this big deal that we're trying to get settled, so we've got something super awesome for all of you today. Our toll-free number, again, 800-951-0592, etched into your brains. The website at allamericangold.com. Another wild day. The Treasury markets once again running hot and running higher. The 10-year note crossed the 3% level briefly this morning. It's right about 2.99 right now. I'll give you a couple of numbers. It doesn't matter. Okay, and it doesn't. It doesn't matter. But I'm going to give you the numbers anyway. Okay, so 305 on a 10-year note. 305. A break above that would mean that the 10-year note is going to run even high, and it's going to. I mean, it's a foregone conclusion. It really, again, and I say it doesn't matter, but in order for you to be ready, right? And we know the trouble started when it crossed 263. Now they're all worried about if it goes above 305, the Dow's down 160 points. The great earnings season. Remember, once we get these earnings, everything's going to be great. Not so much. The earnings are okay. They're okay. Depending on where you look, just like anything else, there's some good and there's some bad, but the realities are, and again, and I keep telling you this, and I want you to understand it. They lied to us, and then they said they fixed it. Okay, they lied, and then they said they fixed it. The problem was they lied, so they didn't fix it. This is a debt problem. It's always been a debt problem. One of the reasons why the founding fathers in the Constitution wanted the money to be gold and silver, to prevent the bankers from doing exactly what it is that they're doing today. All the debt was deliberately mispriced. They robbed you. They robbed me, right? Think about all of you that really did it right. You got robbed. And any of you have a CD, right? Anybody? Anybody taking their retirement, buying bonds, and living off the interest? Nope. And, of course, now it gave them cover to blow up deficits. They just blew them up. I mean, the pensions are it's incredible how quickly it's all coming. Last night, I'm watching our local news right in the Thursday, I guess, is D-Day for the teachers here in Arizona. If they're going to walk out and strike or not, I'm not sure. Then on the news yesterday, the prison guards are like, hey, wait a minute. Hey, don't get us wrong. We feel bad about these teachers, but what about us? Right? We need our money, right? And everybody's got their hand out, and there's no money to give. The short end of the bond market, though, is the one I'm more worried. 10-year note's nice. 2-year note's above 2.5. 5-year note's almost at 2.90. And you think about, remember what I tell you about our debt and how much of it is so short term. And these are the rates that have really taken off. The interest payments on the debt are going to really, these are things you're really going to have to start paying attention to. I've already told you, listen, they don't want it anymore. Of course, why would you think, would you buy it? Just ask yourself that. Would you want to buy a government bond right now in U.S. dollars, knowing that the dollar is in another downtrend, right? The dollar is going to be losing value on top of the fact that you barely get, even 3% for 10 years is nothing. and you start looking around, and then you start to get, you start to see the writing on the wall. And why is it that Wall Street is so worried about this debt market? Because they know. They know that the only reason why we had a rally at the beginning, think about it, Doug got the, almost 27,000. Now it's barely above 24. We may have seen the highs on Wall Street for a long time. I don't know. I'm hoping I'm wrong, but it certainly doesn't appear to be that way. There was a bunch of economic data out today. We'll get to that. More calls now coming out of Washington. More and more. You're starting to hear more and more senators and congressmen talking about we need to go after the entitlements, and we got an entitlement problem. That's coming. You know what? They're not wrong. Everybody's going to have to take a bite. We'll talk about it. We're up on the break here. We'll talk about it when we get back. Patriot Radio News Hour. Don't touch that dial. 800-951-0592. Gold's coming back up 7, 13.29 and change, 13.29, 13.30. Silver up 10 cents, $16.70 on silver. I still got some silver eagles. I don't have that many. At $3.85 a roll. Remember, we ran those yesterday. I'll get confirmation from Wendy. And the reason, I apologize, we're a little late getting on the air. We were right in the middle of working on a deal on some gold. Wendy, is it done? Do we have it or not, Wendy? The gold, is it done? Okay. U.S. $5 liberties. We a minute after I was supposed to be on the air, just locked in a deal on U.S. $5 liberties. Did we get the number? Do we know the exact number? I'm sorry, you guys. We got to cut. Wendy just walked in.
Okay. Figure 150.
Okay. So it was. So we got the whole thing. 150 $5 liberties. They're $3.75. We're throwing that price out. $3.55. And I'm going to tell you right now, that is ridiculous.
It is.
At 800-951-0592. If it was me, and I was sitting there and I'm talking about, okay, I want to buy today. What do I want to do? I would definitely, and you know me, I'm a gold guy. I love the fives. Fractional materials, always outstanding. But I'd throw a few rolls of silver in there as well. Absolutely.
Yes, I still have
silver. We got Silver Eagles $3.85. You think about it, what's that, $2.55 over? Nobody's doing that.
Right.
U.S. $5 Liberty gold pieces. These are the old ones, right? The 1866 to 1907s. $3.55 at 800-951-0592. We got a new term we all need to learn. Silver tsunami. Right? You know the Amber Alerts? I think the Amber Alerts are everywhere, right? You know, when a child goes missing or whatever. Here in Arizona, we have the silver alerts when an old person gets lost in the desert or something like that. They issue the silver alerts. This is a silver tsunami. And this comes out of John Rubino is the guy that did the research here. I can't take the credit. Pensions, and I've been talking about this a lot the last several days. There's a crisis going on. The story is so full of large numbers, obscure projections, in dry terms like unfunded liabilities that nobody pays attention. It's the same thing with Social Security. Oh, the trust fund's going to be out of money in 2034, right? And nobody blinks an eye. Of course, I tell you that's not true. It's not going to be out of money in 20. It's going to be much sooner. But they use obscure projections trillions to get to that number. Then I read today, someone said, oh, yeah, well, the trust fund, in 2022, we're going to start taking out of the trust fund. We're already doing that. See, just so you can understand, that payroll tax, the FICA tax that everybody pays, okay, not everybody pays income tax, but everybody pays the FICA. That's where your Social Security and your Medicare, that's where all that money comes from. And we collect, roughly, right around $1 trillion. Unfortunately, we spend or pay out right over $1 trillion. The only reason they say that we're not already going into the trust fund is because they pretend to give the trust fund an interest payment, right? They don't actually do it. They just pretend. Right, because the filing cabinet's got these IOUs in it. See, they spent it, and then they pretend to give you an interest payment. So they say, well, with the interest on $3 trillion, we're still not quite there yet. But here's the reality: we are. It just gets added onto the debt. Whether you want to call it an interest payment or whether you want to be truthful and just say, hey, listen, Social Security, Medicare, we're spending more than what we take in. It really doesn't matter. Either way, it gets added to the debt. And the number's going to get real big real fast. Matter of fact, in about 10 years' time, it's going to be all gone. Even the fake money. The filing cabinet's going to be gone. It's all gone. Then you think about what's happening, with unfunded liability. People, you hear that, you hit the snooze button. Right? You see all of these strikes going on and with the teachers, and now I say, hey, I was watching my local news, all the prison guards, they want their money. Where is it all going? And we did an article yesterday, or maybe it was a few days ago, and I forget what city it was in. But 50 cents of every dollar of salary was going to pay pensions. And they were saying, hey, in the next couple of years, just a couple of years, 75 to 80% of all the, I think it was a policeman, right? So let's just say you had a small little town. And let's just keep it simple. You had 5 police officers, and all said and done, they each made $100,000, so you got $500,000 in salary. They're saying, hey, we're going to need $400,000 more dollars just to pay for the guys that had already retired. And now they're calling this a silver tsunami. This was out of the San Francisco Chronicle. What happens when state funding improves, but local school budgets get worse? This is what a lot of states are finding out. And here's the sad part. We're kind of at the peak of this economy, and we're getting ready to start heading the other way, and the improvements are going to be gone. But even with the improvements, if there was any, budgets are worse. School systems are getting hammered by the rising cost of pension and health care commitments. Meanwhile, they're being pinched by external factors, including declining student enrollment, increasing competition, and frozen federal funding. Districts throughout the nation are now facing the same squeeze. Why isn't anybody paying attention? And they're going to start. And this is what I've been telling you. This was a debt problem, always has been a debt problem, and they lied to us. Really, they didn't lie. What did they do? They just manipulated and said, hey, we're just going to make the cost of this debt a lot less. And then we're going to call that economic expansion, because look at all the money all of these places were saving on payment, At the same time, just bleeding all of these places that bought bonds, just bleeding them dry. And so now you've got a state where almost, and this is now sweeping across the country, money is boring. Right? Unless it's me, right? I love it. I love talking about it. Most people don't. And I know a lot of you out there listen, and you're like, you know what? I try to talk to people. I try to educate. They don't want to hear it. Oh, it's negative. It's not negative. It's not even scary. You have to know how the game is being played if you want to play to win. If you don't want to play to win, you don't want to know the rules. And here's the reality. The central bank is counting on the fact that the American public isn't going to play to win. Because if you don't play to win, then we can take advantage of you. Only boring people like chief financial officers talk about money and use phrases like unfunded liabilities. You know, and I want to just mention, how long have you heard that phrase? How long? We've been here 22 years. I've been hearing that phrase since the 90s. And the problem was, well, you know, it's in the future. Right? We didn't have to worry about it. Yeah, we heard it in the 90s, but, you know, it's way out there. That's like 2020. Guess what? It's 2018. Right? And they talk about, oh, we can't do this to the children and the grandchildren. Remember that? That was in the 90s. Got news for you, folks. It's now. I told you, this is just year one. This is just year one. Cutting-edge people talk about disruptive innovations, right? You know, we love it, right? We talk about apps and things like that in Facebook, and we're all excited about Netflix, right? Because they stream movies to people. By the way, do you see Google and Apple? Not so good today. Just saying. I don't know if you also, Cambridge Analytica, that was the bad app from the bad actor in Facebook. Their CEO was on Squawk, I think it was the other day. And he let the cat out of the bag and started laughing and said, you know what, Facebook, every app does it. I don't know what Zuckerberg's talking about. He goes, they're trying to act like we were the only one. He goes, we're one of the smaller ones. Get ready. Regulations coming there as well. Money is politically messy. No one likes to talk about it. Everyone wants something, right? Think about your elections in your town. I don't care where you live. I had a customer from New Hampshire who sent me the ballot box from his, it was a town. I mean, city was being generous. And they had like 40 different ballot initiatives, all of them wanting funding for something. And they're all good calls. I mean, right? Who wants to come out and say teachers shouldn't get any more money? Nobody wants to say that. Who wants to come out and say, you know what, old people, you know, they need help with their medical bills? Who wants to deny them that? Nobody. Who wants to, you know, underfund the prison system? Nobody wants to. Right? They all got their favorite little projects. No one wants to talk about making tough choices, though, do they? That's why they use terms like unfunded liabilities. That's why they use terms like, kicking the can down the road and all of these other things. And we can't do this to the children and the grandchildren, right? They're trying to make you believe they're not doing it to us. Right? It's somebody else. Even fewer want to discuss sensitive topics like we're broke. I want to pay for it. I do. But We just can't. Right? We got to do something different. And you start really looking around, and when you just think that things couldn't get worse, they do. Because people didn't understand. They mispriced it all. You have no idea of how much unfunded liabilities really truly are, and you're going to find out. We're all going to find out. All these places that we balanced the budget. We did in Arizona. People actually moved to this state, and they pretend like they balanced the budget by not paying all the other things they're supposed to pay for. Well, guess what? We got to start paying for them now, and there's no money to do it. Patriot Radio News Hour. We'll be back right after the break. 800-951-0592. Gold's now up 10. 13.33 in rising. Silver up 15 cents, 16.75. The remaining U.S. Silver Eagle rolls 3.85, right at $2.50 over spot. And then the deal of the day, U.S. $5 Liberty gold pieces, $3.55. Take the time, put them away. Already, you know what? I haven't even got a chance to get online and update pricing, but you're talking about buying $4 or $5 Liberties gold pieces would be about $10 more than a $20 Liberty. Only be $5 more than a $20 Saint. I know we've been close before. Because you never, every once in a while with the 10s, you can buy 2 10s for a 20. You can even buy 2 10s for less than a 20. You never get there with the 5. Never. I think this is probably about the closest we've come. When you think about $20 Liberty 1410 and you get 4 or 5s at $3.55, it's 1420. 800-951 0592. If you're just joining us, the big news today, the bond market, yield curve inversion picking up steam. The Dow's down 300 points we're having troubles at the auction, right? We're having trouble getting people to come in and buy the debt. Rates are rising, short-term rates and yield curve inversions, and now we're kind of sitting on the precipice of the next ugly leg down as all the debt markets reprice. And people forget what Wall Street is. It's debt, right? The stock market it's just a different debt market. But make no mistakes about it. This is where they're all tied together, and you're starting to see. Think about this. Think about like when you're growing up and you're at the pool. And you had a ball of some sort, and you pushed that ball under the water, right? And it had all that pressure on it, and then as soon as you let go, it goes skyrocketing up and shoots through and goes up into the air. This is what is happening in our debt market. What they did, here's what they decided to do. They didn't want to hold these banks accountable, right? They didn't want to have their buddies lose all their money. Right? Think about like Wells Fargo. Wells Fargo is a great example. Right? They paid $1 billion fine. Right? Just imagine if you could have done a class action lawsuit, how much it would have actually went to you guys, right? It would have went to us, the people that actually got affected, but it doesn't work that way. No one even went to prison. Heck, no one even got charged with a crime. Just think about that. So the Federal Reserve decided they wanted to suppress the debt market because they wanted to help the financial institutions who had all of this debt, right? Because I explained yesterday how all these companies, they just roll it over. And they do it with short-term markets because it's the least amount of interest, right? They don't want to take out, like when we buy a house, right, you get a 30-year loan. big companies, when they buy another company or they issue debt, right, they don't get a 30-year loan or a 10-year loan or a 5-year loan. They get something real short, a year. And every year they refinance it, right? And really they just roll it over. Well, when the feds dropped the rates to zero, it made all of that debt less. And on paper, they're like, oh, yeah, look, we're doing a lot better now. And so think about the pool, right? And the Federal Reserve was pushing that ball down to the bottom of the deep end of the pool. And they held it there. Not for 6 months, a year, 2 years, 10 years they held it. What do you think is going to happen now? Because they're starting to what? Right? Now they're pretending, oh no, this part of the plan, things are better, we're going to gradually do it. The beginning of the year, there's nothing gradual about what the bond market has done since the beginning of the year. This is not gradual. Just because the guy on TV says it is, it isn't. And the problem is while they were holding that debt market under the water, they doubled the size of it. So think about this ball that they were holding over this boulder, and now it's twice as big and twice as much pressure, and it's all starting to blow up. Right? And remember all of the things that they talked about, unfunded liabilities and kicking the can down the road. And there's actually a big report in the Business Times about Social Security with a $34 trillion problem. And I laugh because just think about the debt now. It's $21 trillion. It's going to be 40. Throw on Social Security another 40. Who cares? And all of this needing to be funded, and then the pensions, and you think about personal and household debt. It's all at record high. Every form of debt is at a record high. And now the rate that you have to pay to finance that debt is starting to well, think about it. Even 3% historically would be nothing. But today, it looks like it's massive. Did you see gasoline this morning? I don't know if you saw. I drove into work and went up another 10 cents. $2.80 is now a cheap price here in Phoenix. $2.80. Up near my house, it's now over $3. Get ready, it's not over. According to half a dozen trustees, Social Security is running into some big trouble. They say that outflows in the $3 trillion in fake asset reserves is just going to be, it's going to take 12 years. Now, I think that's a rosy projection. 12 years to run out. The depletion of reserve assets is often a source of confusion in the public. I'm going to straighten it out for you. There is no reserve asset. Social Security is in deficit, whether you like it or not. That's real. And the problem is only going to get worse. Patriot Radio News Hour. We'll be back right after the break. 800-951-0592. Colorado, we got a new office up in Colorado at the KHNC studios. All of you, if you want to place your orders, you call here. We'll set up appointments for you. You can pick it up there. You save on the shipping. No more shipping if you don't want in Colorado. If you've never done business, and I know so many, just this week alone, we've had, 3 or 4 customers who called and ordered in Colorado said, I've been listening to you for years, but you never had a place up here. Right, so if I was going to order a roll of Silver Eagles or a $5 lid, by the time you added on the shipping cost, it was just more convenient for me to go local. You don't have to do that anymore. So now, those of you, this radio station in Johnstown, you can pick up your products there and save on the shipping cost. Also, I got to tell you what, if you haven't been listening to the second hour, or maybe you started listening the first week and said, these guys they got work to do, man, you got to tune back in. I'll say this, Brian and Jason, that's second hour now. We got the second hour. It's from 3 to 4 Colorado time. And, man, have they been doing some great radio. I mean, just fantastic. And it's a totally different show than what you hear from me. Every once in a while we talk about the same things, but really most of the show is all new stuff. So make sure you tune in for that second hour. That's on every Monday through Thursday. So we got a second show that goes 3 to 4 Colorado time, Monday through Thursday. For those of you that want to listen that aren't in the Colorado, in the Front Range area, you can go to America News Net, and you can listen live there as well. And we're working on a few other things to podcast that one as well. And don't forget, too, we've got a lot of great things happening up in the station in the Front Range. We're slowly but surely, things are getting better up there. If you want to advertise with the station up there, we want to be a partner with you. So if you got a small business out there, and you want to try to, get the word out about your business, we want to help you do so. Call us. We'll give you all the details. It's the best rates you're ever going to get. 800-951-0592. The Dow is down 300 points. As the bond market, again, remember, I've been telling you, how long have I been telling you? It's a debt problem. And here's the rest of it. I'm giving you a number. 305 on the 10-year note. But we're at 3 now, so we're right there. 1375 in the gold markets, and they're both going to fall. Both of them. Make sure you're in before they do. Or, depending on where you're at, make sure you're out. It's going to be a bumpy ride for the debt markets. U.S. Silver Eagles, 385. Great article out on allamericangold.com this morning. And people talking about, and we've been doing this a lot, right? We know silver's manipulated, more manipulated than gold. We know it's significantly underpriced. It's not going to last much longer. And we look at what's been going on the supply. We look at what's been going on as far as trading ranges. And what I didn't know is that silver actually is a lagger in the metals. And then always catches up. And remember the story I always tell about gold and silver. They're brothers. Right? Gold's big brother, and silver's, he's little brother. And big brother, he's more responsible. He's in charge. Why I always say, I'm a gold guy, right? Gold's in charge. And when mom and dad are gone, gold's in charge. And like most little brothers, silver's a little wild. Right? He strays. He gets easily distracted. And sometimes he goes way out in front of Big Brother, and sometimes he's way behind Big Brother. But here's the one thing that always happens. He always catches up. When looking at silver, according to the Bloomberg industrial charts, you could see up to a 50% rally. And they were saying it's been about 50 years since silver's 12-month range was this narrow. In other words, what they're saying is if you took the silver price for the last 12 months, remember the story I told, silver's little brother. He's volatile, right? He moves and he's all over the place, right? If he was a human being, they'd put him on Ritalin, right? That's silver, right? He's got a little ADD in him. 50 years to see a trading range, a 12-month trading range this tight. In other words, silver's been put into a box. And according to Bloomberg's senior analyst, things are getting ready to rally outside of that box and rally really hard. And he's calling for a 50% increase. I don't know. I don't like to put dollars on it. But I'm going to tell you right now, at least for the very, very short term here, because I think it could be any day, make sure you always have some silver in your order. That's what I'm telling you. If you want to maximize cost and profitability, put some silver. I know a lot of people are out there saying, well, but I bought silver at $35. I took a big hit. Cost average. U.S. Silver Eagles, $3.85. U.S. $5 Liberty Gold Pieces, $3.55. 800-951-0592. Patriot Radio News Hour. We'll be back after the break. (800-951-0592). This just in, Russia has just bought another 300,000 ounces of gold. Their gold reserves now getting ready to crest 2,000 metric tons. And then you think about Turkey's news yesterday. They were taking all the gold out of New York. I got a follow-up for that. They're opting out of not only all the gold in New York, all their gold in England, and all of their gold at the Bank of International Settlements. And then news now that Iran, which has already dumped the dollar, has now joined the group and working now with the Chinese, the Russians, and Turkey now on eliminating the use of the U.S. dollars. And again, remember the story. I don't know what I need to do. If you don't want to get your whole life savings wiped out, you better have your ass protected, because this isn't make believe. Okay? This is happening in real terms, in real life. There's a reason why the bond market's getting all crazy all of a sudden, because the Chinese, they're just not buying. The Russians aren't buying, right? Turkey's not buying, Iran's not buying. They're not buying. Right at the time we got trillions and we're entering a debt super cycle. The debt is going, and I told you see it. I'm right. You know I'm right. It's going to be $40 trillion here real quick. They're all buying gold for a reason. They're bringing their gold home for a reason. They're not buying as many U.S. treasuries for a reason. They finally got someone big enough. You know, let's face it, there's a lot of countries say they don't like when the United States tries to dictate everything. Right now they've got a country that, let's face it, as far as stuff goes, they're the largest economy in the world. The biggest trading partner most of these countries have now is China. And they're on the move. And you know what? It is what it is. It is. It's not, I don't know, it's not a good thing, a bad thing. It's a what it is thing. And the only thing that really matters is, are you going to get ready or are you not? That's it. Silver Eagles, $3.85, $5 Liberty Gold Pieces. And this, I can't even tell you how great of a deal it is. You're just going to have to take my word for it. $5 libs at $355. Matter of fact, I'd buy as many of those as I can, because to get this close to a $20 gold piece, probably won't ever happen again, but there it is, $3.55 on the $5 Liberties. We got like 120 of them. Then rolls the U.S. Silver Eagles at $385. And really think about it, this is how it works. Right? All fiat money eventually goes to zero. How does it go to zero? Well, and they talk about, Rome, right? Well, they expanded. They got too big. They were all over the place fighting all these wars and fighting this and fighting that. They went broke. That's what's going to happen here. Listen, something else will emerge. Just how much money do you want to start with? The more you have in wealth insurance, the easier time you're going to have. 800-951-0592. Patriot Radio News Hour.